Hello gamers, I'm AmyVideogamer and welcome to Pixar Amy, where we celebrate the joy in every jump, spin, and swing. Today we are celebrating Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles is amazing, and honestly it's probably one of the best Sonic games ever made. Everything about it is bigger, the challenge is deeply satisfying, and the adventure feels so much more grander. It gives us the unforgettable debut of Knuckles the Echidna as the rival who tags along with Dr. Eggman, and it completely redefines the role of the Chaos Emeralds. This time, collecting them isn't about stopping Eggman from taunting you at the end. There is an incredible rewarding special ending that is absolutely worth going for. My first experience with this masterpiece was on the Nintendo GameCube's Sonic Mega Collection. At the time, I had no idea a combined version even existed. It was a massive surprise when I finally unlocked it, a reward for loading up both Sonic 3 and Sonic & Knuckles 20 times each. Ever since that moment, I've always played them combined. It just feels right experiencing it as one massive, sweeping, epic, spanning two interconnected games. Just like my videos on the first and second games, I'll be playing this game from the Sonic Origins Plus collection. So let's dive into one of the greatest Sonic games ever made. Picking up right after the events of the second game, the Death Egg has crash landed on Angel Island and it's up to Sonic and Tails to stop Dr. Eggman from relaunching his massive space station. The game kicks off with Sonic and Tails soaring towards the island on the tornado. Sonic instantly transforms into Super Sonic to blast ahead, but the moment he touches down, we are introduced to Knuckles the Echidna. In a grand entrance, Knuckles blindsides us, punches the super right out of Sonic, steals all Chaos Emeralds, and chuckles before running away. Talk about a rude introduction to Eggman's new ally. Stripped of our emeralds, our journey officially begins on the shores of Angel Island Zone. The zone is an absolute paradise, a bright, beautiful, dense tropical jungle packed with vibrant green foliage, looping pathways, and massive ramps that let you build up a satisfying amount of speed right out of the gate. But just as you get comfortable with the lush scenery, Sonic 3 dramatically raises the stakes. Midway through Act 1, a sinister robot appears and deliberately sets the entire jungle on fire. As the flames spread, the peaceful paradise transforms into a roaring inferno. We give chase to this mini-boss facing off against him at the end of the act. He can look a little intimidating, but he's honestly a total cakewalk, especially if you manage to grab a flame shield early in the level. One quick destruction later and we press on into Act 2. Now our mission is to escape this burning jungle. We sprint through the ash and eventually climb up a massive gorgeous waterfall, only for a giant airship to appear in the background and attempt to carpet bomb us. Luckily the pilot has terrible aim. Dr. Eggman finally makes his grand appearance at the very top of the waterfall for a first true boss fight. Once again, having that flame shield is an absolute lifesaver because it protects you from his fiery attacks, allowing you just to keep bouncing into his machine until he's sent packing. Unfortunately, our victory is incredibly short-lived. Just when you think you can catch your breath, Knuckles shows up yet again to ruin our fun. With a smug grin, he triggers a switch, detonating the bridge we are standing on and sending us plunging down into the scary depths of... We fall into the scary depths of Hydro City Zone. Dropping into these deadly waters can be a bit intimidating, but the zone itself looks incredible, an ancient underground waterway system. While navigating the deep waters isn't too bad, Act 1 definitely moves at a slightly slower pace because you'll be spending a lot of time completely submerged. Because of this, tracking down a bubble shield is an absolute game changer. It allows you to breathe indefinitely underwater so you never have to worry about your oxygen levels, and its signature bounce mechanic helps you move around with ease. Before long, you will be propelled right out of the water, speeding through massive loops and flying off ramps at breakneck speeds. At the end of Act 1, we encounter a mini-boss where we have to fight while submerged in deep water. The trick here is timing your jumps perfectly to dodge the spinning robot, using the extra height of your jump to get some extra air. Wait for him to stay still and that's your cue to attack and claim victory. The start of Act 2 hits you with an immediate adrenaline rush, a deadly chase sequence where you're underwater with a giant wall trying to crush you from behind. This was absolutely terrifying when I was younger, and I can't even tell you how many lives I lost to that wall. Once you survive and get past it, you're treated to more underground waterways packed with ramps and loops to sprint through. Near the end of the act, we cross paths with Knuckles yet again. This time he activates a switch and kindly opens the path forward for us. Honestly, he could have just left us trapped in that room with no way to escape, so deep down, maybe he's a nice guy at heart. From there, we find Dr. Eggman for another underwater showdown. Luckily, we aren't fully submerged, but the deep water so severely hinders our movement while Eggman creates giant whirlpools. To take him down, you have two great options. You can either wait for his machine to lower to your level, or use the water columns blasted up by his depth charges to launch yourself up to him. Combining both strategies make the fight go by so much faster. Defeat Eggman, claim your victory, and it's on to the next zone. We tumble right into the ancient ruins of Marble Garden Zone, which features some of the most steepest hills in the entire game. Despite the ancient setting, you can gain some incredible speed blasting down these slopes, but you also have to be careful because this zone is also home to an absolute massive amount of spike traps. There are spikes on the roofs, spikes on the walls, spikes on the ground, even floating spike enemies waiting to ruin your day. See, this zone's truly all about the spikes. Luckily, we have a unique gimmick to help us navigate the danger, the blue spinning top. Jumping onto these tops let you hover into the air to access upper routes, uncover hidden rooms, or move incredibly fast along the ground, which can smash through walls and open up brand new pathways. At the end of Act 1, we encounter our mini-boss, a giant drill machine. He loves to drill right up into the roof, causing the entire room to shake violently as a shower of rocky debris rain down on you. The trick here is to simply dodge the fallen rocks and wait for him to come back down. The moment he appears, counterattack and he will go down fast. Moving on to Act 2, it's clear Dr. Eggman is not happy with us. He actually pops up throughout the act using his massive drill machine to trigger earthquakes and causing the very landscape to collapse in on us as we won. All of this structural chaos leads to a truly unique boss battle at the end of Act 2. Eggman uses his drill to completely destroy the floor beneath our feet, threatening to send us plummeting into the bottomless pit. But fear not, because Tails is here to save the day. Tails catches Sonic and keeps him airborne for the entire fight. There is absolutely no fear of falling because Tails will always catch you, letting you focus tightly on the battle. Just time your jumps whenever Eggman flies into view and make sure to watch the position of his drill, as it changes every single time he reappears. With one final hit, victory is ours and Tails carries us off towards some bright lights in the distance. We land right in Carnival Night Zone, which serves as the game's vibrant, dazzling casino-themed zone. While there aren't any slot machines this time around, the stage is absolutely packed with neon bumpers, springs, and lovely giant balloons to bounce you all over the place. Despite the fun carnival theme, this zone can feel incredibly maze-like, especially when you get into Act 2. However, taking your time pays off since there are plenty of goodies hidden in the secret wall compartments. At the end of Act 1, we encounter our mini-boss, where we cannot harm the robot directly. His weak spot is completely protected by an electrical shield, so you have to attack his outer shell to make a spike top fly around. With good timing, the spike top will redirect and smash into his vulnerable spot. Just be careful because those rogue spikes can also destroy the blocks you're standing on, and creating a bottomless pit beneath yourself is shockingly easy. It's definitely happened to me before. Keep your footing and the robot will eventually destroy himself. On to Act 2, and fair warning, this act is very long. I regularly find myself spending about 7 to 8 minutes navigating it. Knuckles is also looking around here and makes 2 distinct appearances to disrupt our progress. His first trick is to turn off the power grid, forcing us to travel through deep deadly water just to find the switch and turn the lights back on. Shortly after that, we run into a hurdle that has frustrated players for decades, the infamous Barrel of Doom. I actually had no idea this was a notorious gaming robot when I first played the game. I managed to figure out how the barrel worked pretty quickly, so it never stopped my momentum. Moving on, we bump into Knuckles for a second time. He blocks our path and hits the switch, triggering the current to switch and launching us straight to the top of the zone where Dr. Eggman is waiting. Eggman flies around trying to drop a giant green ball on top of you and then uses the electrical field to draw you into his electrical lightning. The pull isn't very strong, so you can easily run against it to stay safe. When Eggman descends to retrieve the green ball, that is your golden opportunity to attack him. Once you land enough hits, victory is ours. Sonic and Tails stumble upon a random cannon and shoot themselves out towards a nearby mountain. We blast right into Ice Cap Zone, which easily stands out as my absolute favorite zone in the entire game. I absolutely love snow and ice levels, and this environment is just breathtakingly beautiful with its glowing glaciers and frozen peaks. Sonic's first ever snow level kicks off with an iconic snowboarding sequence that immediately sends us zooming down the slopes before dropping us straight into an underground cave. After Sonic pops himself out of the snowbank, we get to explore some stunning ice caverns packed with frozen traps and massive ice blocks that will completely crush you if you're not moving fast enough. At the end of Act 1, we exit the ice caves to face a mini-boss that surrounds itself with a protective ring of spinning rocks. The key here is patience. You need to wait until the robot hurls the rocks directly at you, which clears its defense and opens your perfect window to attack. Land a few solid hits and victory is yours. Moving into Act 2, it's time to have some serious fun in the snow. If you manage to take the upper path, you are rewarded with a series of incredibly smooth hills and tons of fast loops to sprint through. If you fall to the lower path, you end up right back down in the gloomy ice caves, navigating deadly water hazards and dangerous bottomless pits. I always prefer to stay on the upper path. It is way more fun and there isn't a single drop of water in sight. Soon enough, we find Dr. Eggman waiting for us at the end of the zone. This boss battle can be pretty tough because Eggman hovers just out of your normal jumping reach, and his machine constantly fires out puffs of frozen smoke to lock you in place. To damage him, you have to carefully time your jumps on a small platform attached directly to the bottom of his machine and then use that to reach him. Landing enough hits will break that platform entirely, bringing Eggman right down to your level. Once he's lowered, he he starts shooting his frozen smoke at a much faster rate, so you have to stay on your toes, keep up the pressure and land those final hits, and victory is ours. We spin right through the snow and find ourselves standing at the entrance of Eggman's base. We have arrived at Launch Base Zone, Eggman's massive industrial base of operations. We have finally tracked down the colossal Death Egg and the pressure is on to stop it from blasting into orbit. What makes this zone so visually distinct and thrilling is that you're sprinting directly through a half-built mechanical fortress. But just because it isn't finished doesn't mean it isn't dangerous. This zone throws absolutely everything at you. Deadly laser grids, unexpected fire traps, hidden spikes, and a legion of aggressive badniks around every single corner. After navigating the dangers of Act 1, we spot Dr. Eggman. We give chase, but Knuckles makes another appearance, and in an incredibly rude move, he throws a bomb at us that completely destroys the structure we're standing in, forcing us to drop down. Moving forward, we find a gift Eggman left behind to finish us off, a mini-boss with lethal spiky arms rotating around his chassis. The strategy here is all about patience. Wait for the robot to send to your level, and precisely strike the exposed core right between those spinning spikes to tear it apart in no time. Heading into Act 2, the danger reaches a fever pitch as we break out onto the water level platforms. If you fall into the lower half of the zone, you have to navigate treacherous deadly water hazards, which is why I prefer the upper path of the zone. At the end of the act, we corner Eggman once again. This time his machine is entrenched in the ground on a high ledge just out of reach. A mechanical platform rises to give you a standing ledge, but you have to be extremely careful. A giant iron bar randomly shoots out from either the top or bottom of that platform. Time your jumps carefully to avoid getting crushed while landing your counterattacks on his machine. Once his machine explodes, Sonic and Tails hijack Eggman's hover vehicle and fly out across the lake. But Knuckles blocks our path. Then suddenly massive rocket boosters ignite. The immense force of the Death Egg launching shakes the entire zone, causing Knuckles' pillar to collapse as he tumbles right into the water below. With the fortress launching, we quickly aboard the ascending spacecraft. Now high above the clouds, it's up to us to stop this machine before it breaks the atmosphere. Eggman greets us with a terrifying multi-tiered gauntlet. His first machine is incredibly lethal, firing a constant stream of lasers to the left and right, while a small spiky ball rotates around the top to block your jump. You have to dodge the lasers and wait for him to drop down and strike during that tiny window of safety. After the final hit, the machine is destroyed and then the sky darkens as an even more menacing robot descends. Thanks to his heavily armored spike head, a standard drop-down jump will hurt you instead. You have to carefully time your jumps from the sides or from underneath, all while making sure its massive mechanical arms don't grab and squeeze you to pieces. It's an incredibly tough, high-stakes final battle, but with enough focus and a few final hits, victory is ours. The Death Egg's engines fail and we get to watch the massive space station fall out of the sky, crashing right back down on Angel Island. If you were playing the original version, this dramatic explosion will mark the end of your adventure and roll the credits. But since we're playing the ultimate combined experience of Sonic 3 and Knuckles, our journey is only half over. The impact of the crash sends us plummeting right into the next chapter of the game. We land on the lush floor of Mushroom Hill Zone. This marks the official start of the Sonic and Knuckles portion of our adventure. Mushroom Hill is a bright, beautiful forest packed with towering giant mushrooms and lush greenery. Right away, we spot Knuckles acting extremely suspicious as he ducks into a hidden doorway. If you've been diligent about collecting all 7 Chaos Emeralds during the first half of the game, following him reveals a giant ring that takes us into the Emerald Room. Stepping into this room temporarily resets your ability to turn into Super Sonic, but collecting all 7 Super Emeralds is completely worth it because it eventually unlocks Hyper Sonic. Heading back into the zone, Mushroom Hill is an absolute blast to navigate, filled with bouncy mushroom caps, pulleys, and huge loops that help you build up serious speed. At the end of Act 1, we encounter a wood-chopping mini-boss. He starts off floating safely out of reach and will slowly come down while chopping up the tree. Wait until he's low and attack from the top or side. He will go down in no time. Moving into Act 2, Knuckles makes another appearance right at the start, hitting a switch to launch us high into the air. Suddenly, the entire zone undergoes a weather shift into autumn, changing the vibrant colors of the forest. As you navigate deeper into the zone, the environment shifts once again, this time into winter, making the trees and mushrooms look frozen and lifeless. What in the world is going on here? We soon get our answer when we discover the strange satellite device stuck in the ground. Striking it restores the forest's natural colors, and Dr. Eggman pops out of the ground to kick off a high-speed chase fight. You have to avoid the spike balls on the ground and in the air while making sure you keep up with Eggman's machine. Time your jumps carefully and hit the machine while the flames are down, and victory is yours. With Eggman defeated, a massive airship flies past and we leap aboard to ride into the next zone. Boarding the massive battleship brings us straight into Flying Battery Zone. This zone takes us high into the sky, forcing us to navigate through mechanical hallways, dangerous open-air scaffolding, and spinning mesh platforms. Most of our time here is spent inside the airship, navigating through its treacherous layout, which includes stepping outside onto the exterior hall where one wrong move could send you falling into bottomless pits below. Eggman has also scattered landmines all over the place, so you have to stay fast on your feet and react quickly to survive. At the end of Act 1, we encounter a very sneaky mini-boss. What appears to be a standard anima Emerald capsule at the end of the act turns out to be a fake. Eggman turning the very capsules we've been opening to save animals into a surprise trap robot is absolute genius. Since we can't harm this robot directly, the trick is to stand on the yellow button on top to trick it into attacking upwards. Jump out of the way at the last second so it hits itself and repeat the process until it's destroyed. Moving into Act 2, the lever ramps up the danger with even more spike hazards scattered around every turn. Soon we walk into another trap set by Eggman. We get boxed in between two electrical barriers with a massive laser overhead. Eggman fires the beam continuously as the left barrier closes in on us. You have to keep dodging the laser blast until the Doctor foolishly destroys his own device, clearing our path. We give chase into the final boss arena, where Eggman, piloting his machine, hangs underneath the platform using two giant spike hands. He slowly moves back and forth, and your chance to strike comes when he swings upwards. Land your hits, keep your distance when he retreats to avoid the spikes, and after enough hits, the Doctor is defeated. With the airship going down, Sonic and Tails' abandoned ship falling down into the hot desert below. We splash down straight into the scorching sands of Sandopolis Zone. This environment is a massive heat-swept desert filled with rolling sand dunes, ancient ruins, and towering pyramids. The desert floor is packed with hazards like spike traps, deep quicksand pits, and a tricky scorpion badnik that can snipe you from a surprisingly far away. Its tail arcs high above its body, blocking top attacks, so I usually just leap right over it, though I can't count how many times I got sniped over the years. Act 1 is fairly straightforward, using rising sandfalls like elevators to reach higher paths. Near the end, we drop into a pit as a giant pyramid rises from the ground, bringing us face to face with a unique stone mini-boss. Since you can't damage this rock monster with normal jumps, it completely stumped me as a kid and took me forever to figure out. The trick is to lower it to the far left of the platform and run underneath it as it leaps and push it off the edge into the quicksand. With the boss defeated, we enter the dark interior of the pyramid for Act 2. This act is heavily puzzle-focused, packed with timed door switches and haunting ghosts. Early on, we're forced to break open a capsule that releases these spirits into the pyramid. As the ambient light slowly dims, the ghosts start to manifest and get progressively larger and scarier. As a kid, this level terrified me because I was slow at finding light switches while simultaneously trying to rush through timed doors. It was a massive robot that took me countless attempts to conquer. Eventually, we track down Dr. Eggman, whose pilots a robot protected by a heavy stone armor. You have to jump off the robot's arm to knock off its outer shell, creating a brief opening to land direct hits before the armor reassembles. Mine the spikes on its arms and chest, keep up the pressure, and victory is yours. Once Eggman is defeated, a secret passageway opens up and we plummet down a deep shaft straight into the underground depths of the island. Plummeting through the subterranean passage leads us straight into the fiery depths of Lava Reef Zone. This zone drops us into an active volcanic cavern filled with flowing molten magma and jagged rock formations. Lava Reef is packed with dangerous magma pools, hidden badniks, and spike traps, making the flame shield an absolute lifesaver since it grants complete immunity to magma pools and incoming fireballs. At the end of Act 1, we encounter a multi-part mini-boss. It begins with two floating bars firing energy shots at us from high above. While they look out of reach, you can actually jump high enough to land hits before they drop lower. The spheres leave and a massive robotic hand smashes down to crush you. Dodge out of the way, counter-attack after the hand smashes the ground. The battle rotates between the spheres and the hand. Destroy all three to claim victory. Act 2 brings a dynamic atmospheric shift as the intense heat cools down, transforming the volcanic caves into a stunning crystal cavern filled with glimmering gems. As we climb higher, the Death Egg suddenly appears looming massively in the background. We finally found Eggman's base again. But right at the top of the stairs, Knuckles makes a sudden appearance, punching a giant boulder at us and sends us tumbling into the depths below. Suddenly, the Death Egg reactivates and Eggman appears in a flying machine firing homing missiles. This triggers an intense auto-scrolling chase sequence where we have to leap across rising platforms, dodge explosive projectiles, and climb over Eggman to reach a cascading lava fall. Right before descending into the boss arena, make sure to check the side platforms for a flame shield. It is highly recommended for the upcoming fight. Down at the bottom, we face Eggman half submerged in a sea of magma. The top of the machine is covered with spikes blocking direct spin attacks, and he's able to tilt the arena and drop explosive mines. The strategy here is patience. Stay clear of Eggman and let the spike bombs hit his own machine instead. If you don't have the flame shield, you're forced to make precise jumps between tiny platforms to avoid burning, but with the shield you have a safety net if you mistime a jump. Survive the long gauntlet and Eggman's machine breaks down, cooling the lava around us once again and clearing our exit from the caverns. Leaving the cool volcanic caverns behind, we enter the mystical chamber of Hidden Palace Zone. This single-act zone is an ancient underground structure filled with crystal structures and magical warp teleporters. At the top of the chamber, Knuckles is waiting for us, ready for a final face-off. This fight is quick and straightforward, dodges gliding attacks, and punch combinations, and counter-attack when he's open. Once defeated, explosion sounds ring out from the adjacent room. We hurry over to discover a sacred altar housing the Super Emeralds alongside a massive powerful stone, the Master Emerald. Dr. Eggman is actively trying to steal it, it, and Knuckles leaps forward in a desperate attempt to protect his island's treasure. Tragically, poor Knuckles gets electrocuted by Eggman's machine, allowing the Doctor to fly away with the Master Emerald in hand. Realizing he was tricked all along, a weakened Knuckles comes to our aid. He opens a hidden path, guides us to an ancient teleporter, and uses it to launch us into the sky towards Eggman's flying fortress. Knuckles' transporter launches us way up into the clouds onto the floating ancient ruins of Sky Sanctuary Zone. This majestic single-act zone features crumbling marble pillars, floating clouds, and a breathtaking view of the Death Egg ascending into space. Our main objective here is to climb as high as possible to leap onto the Death Egg before it completely escapes into orbit. The platform requires careful precision as you have to jump across crumbling structures and avoid massive gaps, although bouncing on the puffy clouds offers a safe way to regain height. As we make our way up, we get hit with a series of incredible blasts from the past. A formidable new arrival appears to block our path, Mecha Sonic Mark II. For round 1, he pilots a machine equipped with a swinging wrecking ball, mirroring Eggman's iconic Green Hill boss from the original Sonic 1. Just like in the classic fight, dodge the wrecking ball and use the side platforms to strike until he retreats. We continue climbing only for Mecha Sonic to return for round 2, piloting another throwback vehicle, this time recreating Eggman's Metropolis Zone's boss from Sonic 2. He surrounds himself with an orbit of floating egg pods, requiring us to carefully land hits to destroy the shielding and create a safe opening. After defeating him again, we climb higher to face Mecha Sonic one last time for round 3. This time there are no vehicles or gadgets, just a direct head-on battle against Mecha Sonic himself. He is much more faster, more aggressive, and far more unpredictable than his Silver Sonic counterpart from Sonic 2. Fortunately, unlike the infamous final boss, you actually have wings this time, taking away some of the intense pressure. Dodges, spin dashes, and sharp spine attacks counterattack when he pauses and land enough hits to defeat him once and for all. With Mecha Sonic defeated, we make one last desperate dash upwards and leap onto the Hall of the Ascending Death Egg. Leaping from the ruins of Sky Sanctuary, we enter Dr. Eggman's ultimate space fortress, Death Egg Zone. This final zone is a dark, high-tech industrial nightmare packed with tons of dangerous hazards and complex machinery. Act 1 tests our reflexes with electrical floor panels, hidden spike traps, and treadmill belts that try to force us into incoming bombs or lethal spikes. At the end of Act 1, we encounter one of the absolute hardest mini-bosses in the entire game, Red Eye. In Phase 1, the tall cylinder boss is surrounded by orbiting metal spheres that rise up to shield his glowing red core. Every time you strike the eye, the spheres burst, sending damaging shrapnel across the screen. Once enough damage is dealt, Phase 2 begins as the eye detaches, floating between 2 hovering platforms while firing devastating laser beams at the ground. As a kid, this fight was brutally tough and took me countless tries to overcome, but with careful jump timing, victory is finally ours. That brings us to Act 2, where the level design gets even wilder thanks to anti-gravity chambers. Walking into teleporters flips our gravity upside down, forcing us to navigate dangerous ceiling paths, treadmill traps, and tricky enemy layouts. Before facing with Eggman himself, we run into a secondary security boss. This floating machine uses a bumper shield to block direct attacks from the front while dropping small spiked wheeled badniks onto the arena. To beat it, we have to manipulate the anti-gravity side tubes that are connected to the floor and ceiling to cause the spiked minions to drop right on top of the boss's unprotected head. With his guard destroyed, the path clears for the ultimate final battle against Dr. Eggman himself. This is it, the ultimate showdown. Dr. Eggman steps into his massive Great Eggman robot to make his final stand for the Master Emerald. The battle begins in Phase 1, where Eggman's giant mech tries to crush us with his towering robotic hands. We had to carefully target and tag out all his fingers one by one while avoiding those heavy slams. Once the fingers are destroyed, Phase 2 begins, and this is where the danger reaches a fever pitch. The screen locks into a constant forward chase, and Eggman wastes no time blasting a sweeping wave of flames right at us. To damage the boss, you have to dodge the fire and strike the machine to force open its chest plate, revealing the hidden laser cannon underneath. The timing here is incredibly tight. You have a split-second window to hit the core, but you also have to time your jump to be the absolute peak to clear the incoming laser blast. After enough hits, the giant robot finally collapses, but Eggman isn't done yet. Desperate, he grabs the Master Emerald and makes a run for it. This kicks off a heart-pounding final pursuit across a collapsing walkway where the platforms behind you drop into the abyss at lightning speed. You have to land enough hits on Eggman while keeping your speed up at all costs. This section is so intense, and to this day I always get that nervous rush, always terrified that I'll lose momentum and plunge into the pit, which I've definitely done many times before. With one final hit, Eggman is defeated, but the story isn't over yet. Depending on whether you manage to collect all the Chaos or Super Emeralds, the true ultimate finale unlocks. Welcome to Doomsday Zone. The final battle between Sonic and Dr. Eggman takes place out in space. Flying at blistering speeds at super or hypersonic, you rocket through an astrosphere to catch up to Eggman. who is making a desperate last-ditch getaway with the stolen Master Emerald. Because you are transformed, you are completely invincible to Eggman's direct attacks, but the danger here comes from a different threat: time. Getting hit by asteroids or homing missiles won't kill you, but it will bounce you backwards and stun you for a few critical seconds. This makes the fight an absolute nerve-wracking test of precision, because your ring count drains by 1 ring every single second. If your count hits 0, you lose your transformation and plunge into space and have to restart the entire sequence from the beginning. In Phase 1, Eggman pilots a giant armored space mech firing a barrage of homing missiles. Since you can attack it directly with physical hits, the key strategy is to maneuver in front of the machine's head and lead its own missiles right back into its face. After landing enough indirect strikes, the mech's armor explodes, breaking open the path for Phase 2. Here you get a brief opportunity to dash through asteroids to replenish a few extra rings before charging back after Eggman, who is now fleeing in his main mech suit while carrying the Master Emerald. The strategy here is to continuously ram headfirst into his mech while dodging the incoming missile attacks until the machine crumbles into dust. With one final smash, Eggman is defeated once and for all. Sonic successfully rescues the Master Emerald and makes his descent back down towards Angel Island, returning the Emerald to its rightful altar and restoring peace to the floating paradise. And that is Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles. From the dense tropical jungles of Angel Island Zone to the terrifying high-tech Gauntlet of Death Egg Zone, this game delivers a grand epic adventure that is equal parts fun and challenging. What makes this journey feel so immersive is how connected everything is. Thanks to the seamless zone transitions and subtle details changing in the environment as you run, Angel Island truly feels like a living, breathing world rather than just a collection of random zones. It's held in such high regard for a good reason. It is an absolute masterpiece in my eyes and a game I always find immense joy returning to. Spanning 14 massive, highly unique zones, the sheer scale here is unbelievable. On top of that, it introduces my absolute favorite special stage in the entire franchise, Blue Sphere. I have so much fun navigating these spherical grids and collecting the emeralds. In fact, Sonic 3 and Knuckles is the only game where I managed to collect both all 7 Chaos Emeralds and all Super Emeralds back on the Sonic Mega Collection on the GameCube. The game save system is a fantastic feature because it saves your emerald progress, allowing you to replay earlier zones and give the special stages another shot. I've always wanted to collect every single emerald in a single continuous run. During this playthrough I was so close, but right near the end as I turned around in the emerald room, I accidentally stepped on the warp panel by mistake. I was in complete shock. Because of that mistake, I ended up being just one single emerald short of unlocking Hypersonic, so close yet so far. Even with that heartbreak, Sonic 3 and Knuckles brings the 16-bit era to a close on a massive high note. It's a joyful, thrilling adventure packed with incredible level design, unforgettable bosses, and a deep, satisfying level of challenge. The Sonic and Knuckles half in particular gives you a real sense of growth and mastery, making overcoming every hurdle feel so rewarding. This is a game I can't recommend highly enough. It truly stands as one of the greatest Sonic games ever made. And that's Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles, the grand adventure that brings the legendary 16-bit trilogy to an end. Thank you for coming along for the ride. Until next time, keep celebrating the joy in every pixel.